So, it's 2026. You've just booted up the hit mobile classic, Stickwar Legacy. You sit there, staring at the campaign map and the upgrade menus. Where do you begin? Hi, I'm Lord Miggs, and I've been playing this game for 10 years now, ever since its release back in 2016. It's all too common for me to see clueless players who just picked up the game, running around, expecting this to be just like any other simple tap-to-win mobile game. Today, I'm going to be helping you get started with Stickwar Legacy, providing you the ultimate beginner's guide to dominate the battlefield. Before we dive into the deep strategies, you need to know exactly what you are fighting for. You are dropped into a world called Inamorta, a land completely surrounded by nations that have become so devoted to their unique crafts and technologies that they literally worship their weapons as a religion. Each society believes their way of life is the only way, and they are dedicated to teaching their policies to all other nations through what their leaders claim as divine intervention, which you know simply as war. You lead the Order Empire, a nation guided by peace and knowledge. Because your people don't worship weapons as gods, you are a prime target for infiltration by the surrounding nations. Your only chance to survive is to attack first and obtain the technology of each rival nation along the way. Every great empire needs absolute funding, and in Inamorta, wars are won with a booming economy. Miners are the absolute most important unit in your entire roster. Without a thriving gold flow, your frontline will crumble, no matter how good your strategy is. A single miner costs 150 gold to deploy. They come with a base health pool of 100 HP, deal 10 base damage if forced into combat, and mine anywhere from 0.5 to 0.8 gold per second, depending on your specific upgrades. The absolute best advice I can give you for the early game is to prioritize your upgrade points on the miner pickaxe. Max it out completely before you even think about upgrading their carrying bags. A faster mining rate means you can rapidly build a full economy of 8 miners, which dictates the entire pace of the match. If you find yourself struggling to keep up with the enemy unit production, you need to utilize the Miner Hustle spell. This spell can be bought at the shop for just 20 gems. Upon usage, glowing yellow sparkles will start appearing on all of your miners, granting them double their normal gold capacity and doubling their mining speed for 30 full seconds. Popping this spell early in a match will almost guarantee you a massive economic advantage, allowing you to flood the battlefield with units. Once your economy is booming, you need an army to defend it. Your core military roster starts with the Sword Rat. These are your fast, unarmored shock troop. At only 125 gold, they have very low survivability, but they make up for it by leaping directly into combat. They are the ultimate unit for early game rushes and overwhelming the opponent with sheer numbers. But numbers alone won't win a siege. You need backline support, and that is where the Archidons come in. These are your foundational ranged attackers, wielding recurved longbows to rain arrows from afar. Costing 300 gold, they only have 70 HP but deal a solid 10 base damage. Always keep a solid line of Archidons protected in the back to whittle down advancing forces. What protects those Archidons? The Spiritons. These are your heavily armored elite infantry, forming impenetrable defensive phalanxes equipped with bronze helmets and hoplite shields. Coming in at 500 gold, they are an investment, but they utilize a massive block that completely mitigates 70% of incoming damage. Furthermore, they maintain relevance throughout the entire campaign, unlike the Sword Rat or Archidons, making them the ultimate frontline wall. When you need to absolutely break an enemy wall, you call in the Magi Kill. These elderly, powerful spellcasters are incredibly expensive, but they are worth every penny. Their blast spell deals massive AoE damage, capable of nearly killing Sword Rat and Archidons in a single strike. They can also summon swarms of minions to overwhelm enemy forces quickly. Finally, for the late game, you have the Giants. These are 1,500 gold gargantuan beasts that take up massive population space. They boast an incredible health pool that can be upgraded to 1,800 total HP. These gargantuan beasts use immense health pools and massive tree clubs to crush the opposition. When user controlled, you can activate their devastating earthquake ability, stomping the ground to send a fissure forward that damages and knocks back all enemies in its path. Knowing your unit stats is one thing, but controlling them is the true secret that separates the casual players from the 10-year veterans like myself. User control is a mechanic you absolutely must master. By taking direct control of a single unit, you can outplay the artificial intelligence completely. The most basic applications of this is the one-man attack strategy. You simply take control of a sword rat or a spiriton and charge the enemy base completely by yourself, focusing entirely on taking out their front lines and hunting down their defenseless miners to cripple their economy. When you step up to harder difficulties like insane mode, the AI gets relentless. To survive, you must master the tactic called stall and bait. When the enemy units garrison themselves inside their base, keep your controlled unit running rapidly up and down the field. This erratic movement confuses the castle archers so they won't fire at you, and if you are fast enough, you can sneak in some incredibly cheap shots on your statue while you're there. This trick even exploits the Spiriton AI, as they are programmed to always hold their shields up while advancing towards you, making them incredibly slow. User control is also the only way to reliably take down giants in the early game without suffering massive casualties. When a giant attacks, you must take control of a sword rat or spiriton, dive straight between the giant's legs to dodge the club swing, get directly behind it, and strike. If you are controlling a spiriton, throw your spear directly at the giant's rear to eliminate them even faster. To further buff your army, you need to utilize spells, which you can purchase with gems in the shop. Aside from minor hustle, you have access to incredible destructive power. Archidon Rain costs gems and summons a relentless volley of arrows from the sky for 10 seconds, dealing 2.5 times your Archidon's normal damage per arrow to devastate enemy backlines. If your frontline needs an immediate boost, Spiriton Madness will cause all your Spiritons to throw their spears and deal double damage for 20 seconds. Sword Rat Rage increases the attack speed of all your Sword Rat by 100% and their attack damage by 20% for 10 seconds, leaving them cloaked in red sparks. If your base is under heavy attack, the statue turret spell costs 100 gems, heals your statue to over half health, and shoots powerful lasers from its eyes to melt advancing enemies for 20 seconds. You can also use the Merrick spell for 250 gems, which summons a powerful female support cleric wielding a silver staff to heal 30 HP to your nearest damage units and remove inflictions. If you are completely overwhelmed, the Summon the Elite spell blows a war trumpet to instantly deploy 4 fully upgraded Spiritons and Archidons, allowing you to quickly exceed your population limit in an emergency. User control and spells maximize your potential, but visiting the Armory takes your army to an entirely new dimension. If you are still using the default classic skins, you are playing at a massive disadvantage. Skins are not just cosmetic in Stickwar Legacy, they provide incredibly dense visual and statistical changes to your units. Let's break down the Armory. The Leap skin is the cheapest, costing 100 gems per unit. It outfits your troops in lightweight foliage, reducing their build time by an incredible 50% and their overall gold cost by 10%. It also increases your user-controlled movement speed for most units. This skin is absolutely perfect for the miner to reach peak efficiency faster than your opponent. If you want to control the flow of combat, equip the Ice skin for 500 gems. This coats your weapons in freezing magic, allowing your units to apply frostbite that severely slows down enemy actions. This is astonishingly deadly when equipped on Archidons, as it massively increases the window where the enemy melee units are stuck walking toward you. For raw survivability, you want this Savage skin, priced at 1000 gems. Crafted from the bones and pelts of beasts, this savagery grants your units increased agility, total immunity to stuns, and double damage against deads. The stun immunity is incredible for your frontline Spiritons, but that double damage makes the skin absolutely essential when fighting zombies. When you want to turn the enemy's damage against them, forge the Lava skin for 1500 gems. Created in the heart of a volcano, this skin reflects 25% of all incoming damage right back at the attacker. While user controlled, your attacks also burn the target, dealing 62.5% of your attack damage with every 4 seconds for 13 seconds. This is the ultimate choice for your tanky giants and Spiritons. For 2000 gems, you can purchase the Undead skin. This dark magic subverts death entirely. When a unit gets killed while wearing it, or any enemy is killed by a user-controlled wearer, they instantly resurrect as a dead, belonging swinging to your side. This is incredibly powerful on magic kill, as their high AoE damage allows the conversion of multiple units. The voltaic skin costs 2,500 gems and grants bonus health while charging electrical energy into your armor. Units build up a voltaic charge with each hit, and if user controlled, hitting an enemy will summon a lightning bolt down on the target that deals 60 base damage and splashes to nearby units. This is ideal for architons, greatly increasing a player controlled unit's single target damage safely from a distance. Then there is the vamp skin, costing 3,000 gems, enchanted by the Dark Lord of the Dead. This grants your units total immunity to poison, extra overall health, and a massive 20% lifesteal, meaning they heal themselves based on the damage they deal. If you user control a vamp unit, your melee attacks suddenly deal splash damage to surrounding enemies. This is widely considered the absolute best skin in the game for melee units. If you prefer sheer economy over strength, the salvage skin reduces your unit health and cost by 15%, but causes them to drop scraps of metal on death. Dropped scrap can be turned into 20 gold by letting a user-controlled unit walk over it. Finally, for chaotic destruction, there is the Pyroblaze skin. Units wearing this constantly emit glowing embers and will violently explode upon death, dealing area of effect damage. If you user-control a Pyroblaze unit, striking an enemy physically tags them with an explosive charge up to 5 times. When that tagged enemy falls, it triggers a massive chain reaction that wipes out everything nearby, making it by far the best skin for giants. Now that you have the knowledge and the armory, where do you actually test your skills? The campaign is just the beginning. Stickwar Legacy offers several incredible game modes to keep you hooked for years. First is the Crown of Inamorta. This is a massive round-based tournament mode where you compete against 24 distinct AI opponents in a single elimination bracket, each with completely unique personalities, strategies, and unit compositions. You will start against easy opponents like Root, a casual grandmother with a difficulty rating of 1 who sits in a rocking chair with her cat, playing incredibly slowly with Swordrat and rarely attacking. You might face Sydney, a cheerleader obsessed with taking selfies who trains a random mix of units and rarely attacks. Or Cruz, a rich celebrity in a suit who sits back and builds expensive units. But as you climb the bracket, you will face terrifying challengers. Keep an eye out for Vin, a motorcycle racer who exclusively spams massive hordes of fast Swordrat and will completely run you over if your defenses are weak. You must outsmart Wesley, an arrogant board game nerd who prefers expensive high-end units and constantly summons Merrics. You'll trade blows with Z4CK, a hardcore streamer who uses a highly balanced army, actively controls his units, and spams gaming jargon like poggers and get wrecked noob. Be incredibly careful against Vlad, an eccentric vampire aristocrat who constantly summons toxic deads and pouncer deads to overwhelm the field. At the absolute peak of the tournament, you will run into Cyrus, a master pro gamer who aggressively micromanages his ice Swordrat to rush you down before you can even build your forces. And on insane difficulty, you might encounter Hacker.exe. This is a Matrix Team cheat bot that breaks the fundamental rules of the game. It equips its units with multiple skins simultaneously, giving them the benefits of all those skins. Its gold deposits never run out, and it summons the massive final boss as a reinforcement when its statue reaches 50% health. Be prepared for the absolute fight of your life. If tournaments aren't your style, you can test your endurance in Endless Deads. This is a brutal endless wave survival mode where your army must hold the line against terrifying hordes of zombies out to shatter your statue. Between each wave, you receive 2 upgrade points to bolster your defenses, and you can spend a point on a barricade to give you time to rest and prepare. You will face normal deads, but the real threats are the variants. You must prepare for toxic deads, rotting creatures that hurl their own poisonous guts as ranged projectiles. Low health units like Archidons stand absolutely no chance against this poison. Your best bet is to immediately build a Palax of Spiritans. Their heavy armor renders the poison effect almost useless, allowing your backline to survive. You also have to watch the skies for Pouncer Deads, agile assassins that leap directly over your frontline like a frog to stun and poison your vulnerable archers and miners in the back. If you survive long enough, you might even face the Kai Rider, a deadly mini-boss that acts as a combination of a giant and a dead Kai, capable of slamming the ground for directional shockwaves and raising more dead from the earth. Finally, for players who want a fresh challenge constantly, there are weekly missions. Every single Friday, the game drops brand new, condition-based levels featuring unique bosses and massive enemy units you won't see anywhere else in the standard campaign. Stickwar Legacy is a game of incredible depth hidden behind a simple art style. The core loop of mastering this game is always the exact same. Prioritize your miners to build an unstoppable economy, balance your military roster with heavy spiritons and range archidons, use manual user control to outplay the computer in crucial moments, and always adapt your armory skins to the specific game mode you are playing. If you follow this guide, you will be conquering Inamorta in absolutely no time. If this guide helped you survive the first few nights in Endless Debts or claim the crown of Inamorta, make sure to hit that subscribe button, and thank you very much for watching this video all the way to the end. I'm Lord Migs, and until next time, keep conquering.